Hey, what's going on guys? Michael here, and this past weekend I spent a few hours battling bad guys and exploring the streets of a plague-riddled New York City in Ubisoft's closed beta for their hotly anticipated RPG shooter, The Division. Now while my time spent with the game was technically just the beta, with the game's release date right around the corner on March 8th, I think it's pretty safe to say that what people saw this weekend is going to be a pretty close match to what we get on the release date. So while this video is by no means a final review, I think I got a good enough taste of what this game's going to offer, so here are some of the game's high points and whether or not I'm going to be willing to shell out $60 for it on release day. So let's go ahead and get it out of the way right now. No, The Division does not look as pretty as it did during its E3 reveal 2 years ago. That said, it still looks pretty damn good on the PS4. It's got great lighting and a day and night cycle, and the open world feels very large and heavily detailed, giving you a true feeling that you're in a city overrun by both virus and bad guys. I didn't have any noticeable pop-ins or texture issues as I came and went from one area of the map to the other, and loading times are basically non-existent, really helping to sell that open world feel. Now the large city buildings keeping the field of view smaller probably helps keep things running smoothly in the background, but that's in no way a bad thing. The environments are fairly destructible, adding to the sense of realism, but they're not overdone to the point that the cover-based shooting mechanics become a problem because whatever you're hiding behind is constantly getting blown away. The character movements are pretty good for a third-person shooter, but I did notice that when moving from cover to cover, occasionally the movements did tend to jump between pre-canned animations and can sometimes be a little unnatural. But all in all, The Division is a good looking game with a great sense of atmosphere, and if you've got a high-end PC that can really push those pixels, I'm sure it'll look even better. So for me, the run and gun style of first-person shooters like Call of Duty has gotten a little tiresome, and the cover-based combat system The Division is offering slows things down a little bit, which is definitely more my pace. Reminiscent of the Rainbow Six series and the Gear of War series, The Division's gunfights often rely on you taking cover, peeking out and taking out a few enemies before ducking back down to reload and search for a new spot to hide. I don't know if you'd really call it a full-on strategy, but it's definitely a more involved style of combat that I appreciate, and The Division does it really well. Just about any object you can see can be hidden behind, vaulted over, or climbed on top of, and when you add in the fact that your character gets to carry 3 different types of weapons at all times, you have the ability to choose exactly how and where you're going to attack. Now I know that the beta was probably just the early on missions of the game, but I gotta say the AI is sorta dumb. A lot of times they would just stay in one spot, allowing you to perfectly time their movements to take them down, and sometimes they'd simply stand out in the open letting you pepper them with bullets. I'm hoping the AI gets a little smarter as the game goes along, or is at least more of a challenge at higher difficulty levels, but right now it's not a problem I consider to be a deal breaker. Ubisoft keeps calling The Division an RPG, which honestly can be off-putting to some gamers who don't want to waste time pouring through endless skill trees and attribute upgrades. But while The Division does have these things, they've stripped them down to a level that I think gives you the right amount of customization and upgradability without drowning you in the details. Weapons can be upgraded and customized by parts you can either find, buy, or craft, and the same goes for armor and gear. And you also got skills, talents, and perks that unlock and upgrade as you level up and also as you complete missions to upgrade your base of operations. With The Division's RPG elements working hand in hand with the game's shooting and combat core, it's really more of a hybrid sort of experience than a true RPG, and I think this is a really good thing The Division has going for it. So while everything I've said so far has been pretty positive, honestly none of it would matter to me if it wasn't for one thing: co-op. The Division can technically be played solo, but it's pretty clear that Ubisoft designed the game to be played with a friend or a group of friends. They've made it incredibly easy to join up with a stranger or somebody from your friends list, and then head out into the city to start doing missions and exploring. This is all a very seamless process and doesn't make you launch a separate game mode to play co-op, which is nice, as you can have a friend jump in with you at any point during the game. We all love playing with friends, and The Division is meant to be played that way. So I gotta say guys, The Division might not be as polished and drop dead gorgeous as first shown, and from what I've seen so far in the beta, the AI isn't great and the story is almost non-existent. But if you're looking for a game that you and a friend can pick up that's actually really fun to play and looks pretty damn good too, I think The Division is definitely going to be worth checking out when it hits the shelves in March. After spending my time with the beta, I can honestly say I'm excited to play more and get the full experience.